companies need to regain control over their data, their relationship, and their content. Agree. Because third-party cookies is not going to work anymore. We don't want to get tracked, so the algorithms are not working that well anymore. And live shopping on your own platform is just a fantastic tool to drive that traffic back. Right now, on a good evening, you might have 10, 15 live shows happening at the same time. But a year from now, 2 years from now, there might be 500. You need to come up with that kind of content idea where people are like, did you see that yesterday? You didn't? You go in and see it because that's crazy, and they're going to do it again next week.
Navigating social media can be, well, complicated. Welcome to the Social Media Sucks podcast from Cupco.
Social media really sucks.
Where we unpack the latest trends and help remove the suck from social media.
Hi, I'm Yu.
And I'm Chris.
And welcome back to the Social Media Sucks podcast by Cupco. You're tuning into conversations about the latest trends in marketing and within social media.
If you're not already subscribed, is that okay? No, okay. If you're not already subscribed to our podcast or to our YouTube channel, do it now.
Yes, because it really helps us get all this great inspiration and content out there to more people just like yourself. So today we are very pleased and honored to welcome Team Frank Anderson, who is the CEO and co-founder of Liveshopper. And then of course we have our CEO, Chris Carbonas, and myself, Yu Sao, a project manager here at Cupco.
Great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Thank you.
It's a new intro.
All right.
We're trying it out. So I think it worked.
You're witnessing a lot of pilot stuff today.
That's good.
And
I love that.
by the end of the episode, we will also add a little twist, a lightning round for you guys. So stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned for the lightning round. Let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
I love it.
So let's start with the introduction to you, Tim. Can you please tell us about who are you?
Yeah. Who is Tim?
Who is Tim?
Yeah.
Deep down.
Behind the suit, who is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, when it comes to digital, I've pretty much been here forever. I founded my first agency back in '95 together with BBDO, which was an American agency. So we were the first in that group to actually work with interactive and digital. Okay. Prior to that, I'm an engineer in computer science, so I have a technical background.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of like a crossover between understanding technology and also understanding the user, because most of my time I spend on UX and how to create great interfaces.
That's like at the dawn of the internet, right? Like
it was definitely. I started before doing kiosk systems and interactive kiosk systems and CD-ROM projects because there were no internet.
Okay.
And then in '95, when the internet kind of began to rise, we started looking at it, and within BBDO we had some interesting clients, and there was this other guy who kept coming down to me in the afternoon when I had time to work with all this stuff. And he was very curious to say, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I told him and showed him all the stuff that you could and talked about the ideas that was possible. And he was like, "Hey, we should do an agency."
Nice.
And this guy was Martin Lindström, if you know him. So he was running marketing at BBDO, and I was running all the tech stuff. And we went to the CEO and say, "Hey, we want to do BBDO Interactive." And he was like, "What?" And Martin was like, "Yeah, I can get us Lego, and we have M&Ms."
Okay.
And we were among the first to do small interactive stuff on the internet.
That's awesome.
And then in '97, Martin and I actually wrote a book about how you build brands online, which was also kind of like the first book in the world about that topic.
Nobody was talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And then he kept on writing books, and I kept building agencies. So this agency became Networkers, which was then merged into Framtidsfabriken in Sweden, and in .99 we did an IPO, and again we were the first digital agency to do an IPO in Europe. And then everything went crazy. During the .com boom. We grew from being in Denmark and Sweden to being in 17 countries within a year. And I was responsible for the brand and sales and marketing. So I was like traveling around and all the agencies we acquired.
Selling web work.
Conquering
making sure we had one brand. And since I was responsible for the brand, we have developed it and actually turned the name upside down. So going to Germany to a 120 people consultancy agency and tell them that for now on your brand is going to be upside down. That was kind of funny.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
that's great. I mean, the early days of the internet were kind of interesting. I was also like on the side of web development. I was, starting basically. I was 14 years old coding websites, right? And I was
a hacker.
Yeah, I'm not a hacker, but like using Microsoft Front Page to like make basic HTML websites, and it was, and then of course Flash animation came in and Macromedia, and like
we love that.
Things got more rich and interesting. But I do think like those first days, it seemed so advanced. And of course, like you go back now and you're like, holy crap. It's really progressed, like even in the last, 25, 30 years, right? Yeah. So, and I love the old CD-ROM stuff as well. Before the internet, you'd have to get data via CD-ROM. Like you wanted your encyclopedia, it came via CD-ROM, right? There was no net.
No.
So I had a ton of CD-ROMs when I was a kid. So I'm a little bit like you, nerdy. Into the nerdy stuff, so
that was fun. Yeah. And then fast forward, I left and we founded maybe also the first venture company in Denmark called Internet Venture Scandinavia. We were like 10 guys starting to investing in new companies, and there were pretty much nobody doing it at that time, around 2000, 2002.
Like companies that wanted to be digital, like more it was digital focus or anything?
Primarily startups. Like there was a company called Speed Names who were doing all the domain name selling. There was a company called Kapow doing screen scraping. And a lot of other companies. And the one I was running, which I was kind of proud of, was an analytics company called Instadia that we sold to Omniture. Huge success.
And then Omniture became Adobe Analytics, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Adobe went and bought them afterwards.
So exactly.
That's great. Wow.
So we made a lot of mistakes, to be honest. But
we also paved the way.
Yeah, we learned a lot.
Yeah. You're definitely a pioneer in this industry. That's amazing.
Developed a lot of companies. Yeah. I could go on. I have a lot of things under my sleeve.
You are what we would say as a serial entrepreneur, right? Entrepreneur. Do you have a specific company or two that really made an impression during your long career of startups?
I think they all made an impression in their own way. We started a media company. We were like 4 guys starting a media company in Copenhagen because we thought we could do a free magazine called Where to Go. It was like Squared. Yeah. And distributed through stores and cafes and restaurants. And we pretty much changed that industry completely because we talked about partnerships instead of selling ads. So we did physical events, we did digital stuff, and we did print. And we ended up selling it all to Aller Media. And that was really interesting. And then we went on to create Intermedia, which has been a huge success. And we started a lot of different companies in that period. Yeah. Had 3 agencies at the end that we merged and sold to KMD. Yeah, which was also
that was Intermedia, Baby.
Yeah, and In Silico, which was kind of like a mobile app development company. So and that was a great company, still is.
Was it weird to see KMD like obviously like the history of big accounting or consultancies buying up digital agencies? That's been going on for a few years now.
Yeah, that happened at that time.
Yeah, and that was really interesting,
buying
right?
Designit.
Yeah.
Tech Mahindra was buying stuff.
Yeah.
So you had you had this consolidation going on, and pretty much what they wanted was a UX capability because they all had these huge systems that was terrible to use, and they didn't have that understanding of putting the user in the center of everything you do. They still don't have, to be honest. But they thought maybe they could acquire that. But the real reason why KMD was a good fit for us was that we really wanted to do meaningful stuff. We wanted to do digital solutions that could change something. Yeah. And Denmark is one of the most digitized countries in the world. So the whole public sector in Denmark, there are so many interesting solutions that needed to be done. And KMD was pretty much behind everything at that time because they had the monopoly. Yeah. And that monopoly was...
They were doing all the tech platforms.
Exactly.
Yeah. So they needed that sort of more digital
at
edge.
least they had these assignments where we could see that if you do a bad design, it's going to be terrible for the civilization or for the people living in Denmark. But if you do a good design, you can really change something.
Wasn't KMD also trying to do a lot of like advertising work as well? Like digital advertising, be in that game as well? Or was it strictly just UX?
They tried with Baby because that was pretty much baby's area, but they didn't succeed. So so Mads, who was running that, actually we carved it out and he bought it back.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and we now actually live in the same floor.
Yeah, that's right.
So
I remember that.
His new agency is called Birds at 5.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's Birds at 5.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course, and that's growing like crazy as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
They're doing quite good.
So
it's fine.
So we're in the same building, just one floor down.
Yeah.
And now I have this new software company, which I'm super excited about because it's really, really interesting.
That's the main event here. We should get to that.
What made you start Liveshopper?
Well, every year I try to do 10 tech predictions for the year to come. I've done that for a very, very long time. I'm doing it right now for 2023, and it's always so much fun.
You want to give us some spoiler?
I mean, we can do a separate podcast.
We'll do that. Okay, that's okay. The next one that comes back, we'll, at the end of the year.
I've just been in US, actually, doing keynotes for 4 agencies where I actually lifted some of my thoughts about what's going to happen.
Cool.
But when I was doing that in 2020, during the lockdown, I came across this phenomena from China, and I could see how much it had grown out there.
Yeah.
It's actually started in 2017 by Taobao, so it's before the pandemics, but it really took off during that period. And I was like, okay, this is really, really interesting. I had somebody out there that sent me stuff because you cannot really see it because you cannot get access to these apps.
No, it's a bit
Pinduoduo, Guaishao, and all these different ones. Douyin, you simply don't have access, so you can't see it.
No.
Unless you get somebody to record it and send it to you.
in or whatever.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, so I wrote an article about it and I started looking into it. And I was on the board of some companies which for whom this would be relevant. And I basically said to the management, say, hey guys, everything's closed down. Why don't we go online? Why don't we just record from the store and start selling the stuff we have on the shelves? And they were like, yeah, that's a good idea. Try to find a platform for us. And I ran around and there is one big platform in Europe right now. It's called Bamboozer, and they're kind of the leader, you could say. So I talked to them a lot about the possibilities and ended up doing a suggestion, but it's pretty expensive. And the company was like, okay, this is too much. We don't want to invest that much. So try to figure out something else. And then I talked with other companies, and one of them said, okay, try to talk to Årstiderne, with the one that are selling food in these boxes, because they are doing this as well, but it's on their own platform.
So they built their own?
That they actually didn't, but that's what everybody thought. But I know Søren, who started Årstiderne, because one of the other things I've been doing is that I've been on the morning TV show in Denmark for 10 years talking about gadgets and tech. And while I was talking about tech, Søren was cooking dishes in the kitchen. But he was also tech interested. So in all the breaks, he was like, okay, what is this? And that was so much fun.
That's fun.
Yeah, so I called Søren and I said, hey, what's that about live shopping? Yeah, that's super cool. And we're doing that. And okay, so you actually have a platform. No, some of our people have got the idea and they have actually built it on their own. So we are licensing the platform from them. They actually own it. So I went and talked to them, and I had this business idea about doing an agency, and they had the platform, and we decided to get together.
Okay.
And that's how Liveshopper was born, actually.
So how big is Liveshopper today?
We are 11 people right now.
Yeah.
And for a long time, it was a pure startup with 3 people working for free. As it is. That's how it is.
Those are the wild days.
And then, and so we worked pretty hard, as you always do when you start a company. And then in April, we managed to get funding.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And so we were around and talking to a lot of different, I know that market quite well, and they know me because I've done a lot of startups. But we actually decided to go on a different path than you would expect. So it's actually Boost who has invested money in us.
Okay.
So and that's their first investment.
That's
They've never done that before. They built everything by themselves.
Okay.
So this is first time they'll say, okay, maybe we shouldn't build it. Maybe we should acquire it or acquire part of it. And the main reason why it's such an interesting partner for us is, of course, first of all, they do a lot of live shopping by themselves. And we managed to take that Bamboozer platform that they were running out and kick it out and putting our own platform in instead. And they're super happy about it. So for us, that's a proof that we are there, or at least getting there. But they have 1,800 brands on their platform. And a lot of these brands, they don't have access to their own website. They don't have access to their own social media platforms, because if you're Tommy Hilfiger or Gant or Coach, it's all run from another country. So they're like, okay, what can we do? And they all have like a shop-in-shop page on Boost.
Like so put it there.
they call it a brand wall. So they have their own like area. And we're actually allowing them to do live shopping on their own page with their own products hosted by themselves.
So it's almost like a closed ecosystem, similar to if they had a web shop.
The good thing here is that Boost can then direct traffic to these shows because they have 7 million profiles and they know exactly how many have bought from this brand within the last 3 months. They also know who bought last year but haven't come back for the last 6 months. So
there's a lot of data.
And they know twins and everything. So they can make sure that there's enough viewers for these programs. So for me, that's a big business opportunity for us going forward.
And I think also a lot of the online retail shops, they want this element. They want to keep people more on their page. They want to keep people there to shop and get inspired. So offering a platform for live shopping within those apps, within those systems, just makes complete sense.
The problem with e-commerce, as I see it, is that we have now, I did the first one in 96 for a chain called Fona. They died in 99, but they have been around for 100 years.
Yeah, so that was crazy.
So they were like the big. That was the place
to go. They were the big electronic store.
If you needed a stereo or
remember Fona?
I do.
They were on Strøget, had a huge shop.
I haven't thought about that for ages.
They were the first to do e-commerce in Denmark. We built the first website and we built the first e-commerce site. But even though we have spent 25 years on actually improving that. It still looks very much like a spare part catalog, to be honest. It's not that inspiring. I don't think so. So we haven't really managed to figure out how can we create an engaging and inspiring shopping experience online, like the one we get when I go into a store. With a lot of inspirations and
it's still the nut to crack. I think that some are getting there. Like I would say, like
definitely shop the look, stuff like that.
But like we also work with Wish.com and sort of those guys, and also we've done some small stuff for some pitching for Alibaba. So that's been interesting to see how they run their platform and how everything is somewhat gamified and interesting things and live shopping and live feeds, and you can follow this person who's selling this and that, and they try to make the shopping experience like going into a bazaar and being like, oh, what's over? That's crazy. Do I need these shoes that make me jump higher, or I need this
organized chaos?
It is really, and it's like you're going down a rabbit hole of just shopping experience, right? So some have cracked somewhat of a code, but I agree with you. It is somewhat.
And what we actually allow basically is to kind of open a window to your showroom or to your store and kind of give the same experience online as you give in the physical world.
That's really nice.
And
or at least close the gap maybe.
And consumers, they love it because they get very close to the brand. They get close to the company. It's typically their people who are telling about the brand, so they know better than everybody else. They're super engaged in their own products. And so it's just a good experience. And the distance from inspiration to purchase cannot be smaller than that. And that's also another thing.
People want to see the reality, right? Like it's fine to have nice, interesting, glossy photos, but when somebody's holding up the item and they're going through what is special about it or what to look out for, and the audience can ask questions, it gets much, much closer to purchase, right? And decision making. And we actually had Power on the podcast a couple weeks ago talking about how they've set up their live shopping and how it's been just a killer for them. Like it's been so good for them.
Giving the brand a personality in a sense.
Exactly. But they have kind of decided to go in one way that is very hard selling. So they sell a lot of stuff. They don't go very deep into the products. And once the program is over, the program in itself is not worth a lot because you don't learn a lot, and all the stuff that they show is already sold. So that's one way to do it. It's closer to the TV shopping experience, I would say.
QVC.
Most of our clients, they want to go in a different direction. They actually want to educate their consumers. They want to open up the company and tell about what are the experience, what are the knowledge that we have that we want to give to you, the craftsmanship, the sustainability issues, stuff like that. So it's a lot more about engagement and dialogue. And we call that evergreen content because the idea here is that, it might be live, but the effect of the program is just as good the next 30 days, the next 2 to 3 months.
That's, I guess, what Matas is also trying to do with their
Definitely.
products when they do live shopping.
And they sell 4 to 5 times the amount of products during the next 30 days as they sell while it's going on live. But Power, they only sell for these 4 hours when they do a program. And then they don't even put it up anymore because it's worthless. But it's an interesting concept, and they sell a lot, to be honest. And I totally agree. It gives the brand that personality that we're the fast movers, and here you get the best offers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's on brand for them, I guess.
Definitely.
It's also
100%.
I mean, it's.
And I'm not saying it's wrong. It's just one way to do it.
Yeah.
I think they've done it both ways, but I have to go. I must admit, I should go back and review it. Because I think they've also done deeper sort of dives into particular products, but
particular products. I think they do that as well.
Typically, they do like 3 or 4 shows a year. Well, some of our clients, they do 2 per week.
Yeah,
but
I think they've beefed it up.
But the thing, But the thing about this is that this is still very early days. I often say that the book hasn't been written yet about this. So there are so many ways to do this, and we've just seen a little bit of it. For me, it's a canvas. I provide a canvas, and then it's up to the companies to figure out what are we going to put in it.
And you can put all sorts of things. Like it could be
5-minute shows,
it could be this
4-hour
special
shows.
Guests. It could be
there's so much to do.
Live
you can
streaming
really
of work. It's a workshop you're kind of opening into, like a
definitely a new creative format. And right now, on a good evening, you might have 10-15 live shows happening at the same time. But a year from now, 2 years from now, there might be 500. And then, of course, if there are like 10 sports brands going live at the same time, you need to figure out, okay, how can I stand out? What's my format?
What makes
how
me
can I be
special?
different? And so
natural
right now
progression.
the need to do that is not so high because there's not so much content, right? But over time, this will develop into becoming something that you really need to work on.
Natural progression of things.
Create great content.
Can you tell us a little bit about, what's, you both know, obviously, the transformation of live shopping from then and to what it is now today?
Well, I would say that there hasn't been that much of a transformation because it's only 5 years old, and in Denmark, the first live shopping event happened in March 2020. So, but if you compare it to TV shopping, for example, say what are the differences? Because that's an easy way. When people say, "What is live shopping?" It's easy to say, "Well, it's TV shopping put online," but that's not completely true, actually. First of all, TV shopping is seldomly really live. It's all very often pre-recorded. It's never the company that are actually there. It's somebody,
a host or
and
someone who's entertaining,
an actor or something like that. In China, it's very much influencer based. It might become that here as well, but for now, it's not. So here, it's the genuine people behind the product. It's the jewelry designer, is the founders of the clothing companies and stuff like that. It's the experts. So that's another difference. The third difference is that the interactivity in these events are huge. We did one the other day with Bo and Idé, which is a retail chain for books and all kind of stuff. And within 40 minutes, they had 1,000 comments on the chat. 1,000 comments.
Wow.
So we experience this as well when we go live for our clients.
So and you don't see that on TV shopping.
No.
So there are several differences. That said, there's a lot for us to learn because they've really spent a lot of energy figuring out how do we really sell, and there's a lot of tips and tricks in there that we can learn.
Maybe it's not even selling at all. Maybe it's just literally like product demo. It's hard, like just be very frank and like here's it is, and like if you want it in our shop, go click here or go there and see, and if you want a promo, here's the promo code, right? So it's not a hard sell. I think you're right. I think it's more about drawing up that experience, like being a little bit more storytelling, being a little bit more interesting, trying to make it entertaining. And I think there is a level of, because we also done live streaming for a few different clients, for example, for on LinkedIn or whatever, and there's a bit of media training that needs to happen for the host, especially if they are just the founder or or just a spokesperson from the company, because they're not used to talking to an audience that is actually live.
No.
Right. So it is like, hey, thank you so much for joining. Oh, hey, Sandy in the comments. Good to see you. Hey, that person. Thank you so much. Where's everybody from? Okay, put it in the chat. Like there needs to be this idea that you're not just standing in front of a
totally agree.
thing and just talking. you have an active live audience. You have to think about it like they're in the room with you.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a different thing, right?
Definitely.
So it takes training, and it takes, because otherwise you're just not engaging. You're just like, you might as well be looking at an on-demand video because you're not actually using the format for what it's good for.
I totally agree. And
which
that's
is
something
reaching
you have to learn.
Yeah.
But basically what we typically say is that there might be somebody that runs the show and do all the stuff that you talked about, and maybe that's not the expert.
Yeah.
The expert is there to answer questions and to talk about the product. So that's why
you need maybe the both. You need someone who's good at grabbing people through the screen, and then you need somebody who's good at the other side of things.
And there's a lot of tips to learn from making morning TV, by the way. And so we very often think about this as doing a morning show, because you need to shift the tempo. You need to create excitement in the beginning and get back to it. You need to
you need to tease.
You
need
need
to be like, hey, later
stuff.
we're gonna have this, or
and you know that people might join the event 20 minutes in, so you need to get them on board as well. So you need to go back so there's all these tips and tricks that you learn from having done a lot of TV as well. So we want to integrate that as well.
Do you guys hire TV producers then?
I have a lot of experience myself because I've done quite a lot of TV, and then of course we talk with professionals about this.
Yeah, I think that would be a good skill. I actually think, like, we talked about this on the podcast probably a few weeks ago, that I think companies are going to start hiring people who are content creators plus their own job. Like we had Domino's on, and they were talking about how their TikTok is blown up, and a lot of their staff wants to be on it. And I think that those applications for, being a pizza delivery person or being a chef will also include and be good at creating content, because they need content creators to go on camera, to be live, to show behind the scenes, to be and know that skill of how do you actually engage an audience in an interesting way, right? So it's kind of funny that this is it's becoming a need,
because
right?
in China they started out by talking about key opinion leaders, which is their way of saying influencers. Then they moved on to key opinion customers. So basically saying, okay, maybe it's just some of our customers who are endorsing our products, and we kind of help them with that.
EGC.
And now they're also talking about key opinion employees. So basically having employees doing that exactly as you say. Not everybody, but you have somebody that has that skill.
Yeah, we used to call them evangelists, right? Like or like Adobe would have an evangelist. They would come out and they would be like, Photoshop is the greatest thing on the planet.
Exactly.
And they'd be like, really? Is it? Okay, sure. Let's
show us.
After Effects never crashes. Never, right, Martin? Never. So yeah, that's cool. I think that's really interesting that that you guys are in this, and that you guys have carved out a nice little space for yourselves.
But what's different between Liveshopper and then your competitors?
Well, one thing that we spend a lot of energy talking about is whether you should do this on your own platform or whether you should utilize social media. If you look at US, for example, or even China, a lot of this is happening on social media because they are actually trying to figure out if they can build it into their platform. I interviewed the European head of TikTok yesterday on a stage at the e-commerce conference, and she was like, well, you cannot do that right now with our platform.
Is that Live?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I tried to kind of figure out when and how, and because people kind of say that, you can just do it on TikTok, but you really can't. You can do it in US. They tried it out in England. It didn't really work.
They're pulling it off.
So they and to be honest, I think due to regulation, it's gonna be really, really hard for Facebook, Instagram, TikTok to actually do a full implementation of the shopping. So you'll end up linking to another page, and then you have to do everything again. With our solution, you kind of buy the stuff during the program, and when you click checkout, you're getting exported directly into the checkout flow. And every order becomes a normal order for the company. Of course, they are tagged, but it's super, super easy for them to handle. Whereas if
way less friction.
Whereas if you're doing a social media, there's a lot of individual handling, and people there's definitely more steps in order to buy, and we all know the more steps, the more drop off. So I think our solution in that sense are much better. The other problem with doing on social media is that you don't really own the data. And you cannot get access to it. You cannot even reuse your content. And you're also losing the relationships. So it's like a honey trap. For me,
Yeah.
It's super easy to get started, but you lose a lot.
Yeah, but it's always that, I think it's the drawback of media is that, do you go where the people are, or do you try to carve out your own place?
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's the hard part.
Going down the line, companies need to regain control over their data, their relationship, and their content.
Agree.
Because third-party cookies is not going to work anymore. We don't want to get tracked, so the algorithms are not working that well anymore. So the prices are going sky high.
First-party data is the gold mine.
Definitely. And live shopping on your own platform is just a fantastic tool to drive that traffic back and to actually create some great content for your website.
Yeah.
So that's what we are saying. And of course, I'm not saying that you shouldn't use social media. You just need to use it to create awareness and to market your shows and your events, and then see how fast you can actually bring that traffic to your own website. So I kind of compare it to say that if you do live shopping on social media, it's a little bit like creating a great window to a store. People would walk by and they would look and they would say, wow, this is nice. Whereas when you do it on your own website, it's like they have actually gone into the store. They're in the store. So I would say that once you're on the company's website, you're much closer to a purchase. It's a decision you've taken that I'm actually going to spend time on this company's website.
It's a good creative angle into your first ever global campaign. Right? You can easily see the visuals of people being, on the outside, and someone's trying to live sell you something.
Yeah, we can have a talk and we can make that campaign for you.
They'll just keep walking past, but then when you have to go in the store, it's like, okay, wait a second, this is actually the right way to do it, or a good way to do it anyway.
And the thing is that we have this chat and it's super active, and people, when they want to go into the chat, we ask them for a full permission.
Okay.
And the reason why we do that is that we pretty much always have a giveaway or a competition, also to create that
seamless.
And also the reason to give the data so that they can be part of it.
First of all, if you want to be a part of the competition, you should give us your email so we can send you a mail saying, hey, you won. Where should we send it? But also, so you can actually tease the competition in the beginning of the show. Say we have these great prizes during this event, and we're gonna pick the winners at the end of the program to get people to stay along.
Yeah, I love it.
So that works pretty well.
Or sign up for our newsletter by putting this, and you'll get 20% off your next purchase.
So it's a great tool for actually collecting permissions as well.
Love it.
Do you have examples of companies who you think is doing really well with live shopping and making that storytelling come alive?
Definitely. I think there are more and more examples.
Boost.
I would actually not mention Boost here as a good example yet. I think they will get there, but I would start with Matas because I think they are really good. They're not running on our platform yet. I hope they will one day. But the reason why I get back to them is because they pretty much started it in Denmark, and they're the one who have done most shows. They've done more than 250 shows. So they have learned a lot, and they have tried a lot of different things. So they're really doing well. And to be completely honest, because I look all over the world, I cannot look that much in Asia, and that's a different kind of species. But for the rest of the world, I cannot tell you a company that are more professional with their live shopping than Matas.
Have you noticed any good examples? I mean, Power is a different beast than
totally
Matas.
Different
I know.
Beast. And that's an interesting example. I just think I'm not, to be honest, I don't think that's the right way to do it. I think it's great for them, but it's very, very hard to copy because it's super expensive. They don't make a lot of money on the products they sell, to be honest, because they are so damn cheap. And it's easy to sell if you give stuff away. Everybody can do that. It's a decision you can take. For me, it's not about lowering the price. And that's what I say to my clients is that, it's easy to raise the amount of products sold during a program, just lower the price, but that's not what we want to do. We want to create that sense of urgency in a different way.
And it's not supposed to be a sale.
So
because you could do that with or without
that's pretty
the
easy.
live shopping.
I remember I worked for Pandora for like 5 years. I was kind of like their interim head of digital, and we helped them do everything. And one of the projects I was behind was their Pandora Club, which we launched. Because they had really heavy fans within women that loved their products. And I remember the CEO telling me that, well, you can do pretty much whatever you want with that club. The only thing you cannot do is lowering the price. We're not going to give the stuff away. But you can have them create their own charms. You can give them sneak peeks to our new jewelry. You can create physical events where they can sign up and win tickets. You can do whatever you want, but don't touch the price. And it's the same, I think, with live shopping. Of course, once in a while it makes sense to give a 10% discount code that will run till 12 o'clock in the evening, or empty your stock, which we do a lot with wine these days, and that's a huge success because they want to clear their storage and then to get new stuff in. But that shouldn't be kind of that something you do every time. So it's about finding new ways. And Bo and D did something really amazing. They had this new book, which everybody would want to buy, and then they had the author not just signing it, but actually writing a letter about how she made that book and everything, and they put that letter into that book.
Okay. And if you purchased it from the live shopping
that was
event.
the prize.
Oh, okay. Oh.
So there was one copy, and they were going to give that away during that show.
So people
and it didn't cost them anything.
No.
Yeah.
But the perceived value was extremely high.
Yeah, of course.
So stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's
collabs,
better to do that way.
bundles, whatever you can figure out.
Yeah, that's also
Limited
entertaining,
editions.
right? When you have the person that's selling it, or the book, the author, that's a good way of doing it. So that's interesting.
So
so nobody's doing it that great.
No, I would say that
good market there.
One of our other clients is a very old wine company.
Yeah.
They have the beautiful store in the city called Somerville.
Yeah. Of course.
And they started out with a program where they really wanted to sell a lot of stuff. And then they said, okay, and program number 2 and 3 and 4, we're going to Burgundy in France.
Okay.
So we're going to fly the team out there, and then we will visit some of the best producers of Burgundy wine in the world.
Get people coming.
So we'll do one program every day from a different winery, and these programs were just amazing.
Yeah.
So it's almost a documentary you're watching.
And then the week after, there was we were like, okay, great. and the week after we'll go to Rheingau in Germany to talk about Riesling wine. So they have this kind of new creative approach to it, which I really like.
How can I get a job with that?
Yeah, I was like,
I'm like, I would like to go to every major wine.
Maybe I should fly with you. It's like
wait a second.
Check out the gear.
Yeah, you need the media training. I'll fly with you.
Exactly. I'm here making podcasts in Copenhagen. I should be tasting wine in Burgundy.
We can do that. Should we fly out somewhere?
We don't have a wine podcast yet.
No, we don't have to. We just do different locations.
Yeah, exactly.
Infiltrate different agencies.
I think we need a podcast on Wagyu steak. I think we need a podcast on wine. I think we need a podcast.
I could see potential in that because it's visually also, right? So it's not only audio.
Go and check some of the.
I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do a deck, and we'll see.
Make a business case for me.
Definitely.
I love that.
But can you guys tell us a little bit more about, maybe mostly Tim, but I think you also has some opinions as you usually do.
I don't have any actual expertise.
But these key differences within markets, because you're like, I can't look to China. That's a different beast. And you also mentioned before, like US, it's also different from what we experience in Europe. What do you guys think? Why is it so much different?
I think in US we will see some of the big platforms at least try to gain ground there. Amazon has Amazon Live over there. I don't think it's going to run in Europe, to be honest.
No.
Due to regulation. I think Facebook...
So you think GDPR is actually a hindrance to the live thing?
You could say a hindrance. It basically is because they're not allowed to transfer data and
right. So there's no like CRM that's going to collect anything.
And there's also a limit to how much power we want to give to social media in Europe.
Yeah.
It's also about that.
Yeah, that's true. That's coming a lot.
Yeah, I know Margrethe Vestager actually, and she's looking them over the shoulder all the time to make sure that they don't get too much power.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to happen in that way here, but I think it's going to happen in US. Okay. So I think that Facebook and Instagram eventually will figure it out. Facebook closed it down.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't
rolled it out in Europe.
They haven't built it right.
Yeah.
And again, I think companies are the one that at the end of the day are going to make that decision. And I think it's a huge mistake to give that away. But I think it will happen. Yeah. And especially in US.
Yeah, okay.
But we also see some of the big players over there begin to kind of get their act together, but we haven't really seen that much. I would actually say that we are more advanced in Scandinavia right now when it comes to live shopping as opposed to US.
Is that because Bambuser, who you mentioned before,
that's definitely one of the reasons,
has been a European...
Definitely one of the reasons.
Okay. So there's no big platform in the US yet?
There are several, but they are not that kind of... They are kind of spread all around.
Okay.
So there are no kind of clear winners yet.
Okay.
I think there might be over time, and there's a lot of different ways to go around this. Yeah. But no, we don't meet anybody right now.
Yeah. I think the live thing has mostly been like a user sort of thing, right? Where you have people going live just because they want to, or sitting there eating, 40 cheeseburgers live because that's interesting. I don't think companies have found their space in it yet, because I do feel like they're not entertaining by nature. That's the problem. I think like you need to become a television producer in some aspects.
At least you need to be able. You need to be able to communicate with video, because that's kind of the format for the future.
Yeah.
And Liv showed a pretty interesting case yesterday where she kind of showed the same campaign done as a TV ad, which was like highly produced, very known actress riding on a horse over the beach, ending up with some perfume in her hand. And then she showed kind of like the paid content for social, which was closer to the person, more personal, but still very well produced. And then she showed kind of like the TikTok version of it, which was 3 girlfriends in a car, and a totally different vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we kind of need to understand how video is changing. That kind of that this highly produced TV commercial is not going to cut it on the new video platforms.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah. So I think that's a base skill that all companies need to learn. Because video is going to be the way we're going to communicate. I mean, writing long articles for blogs and stuff like that, it's great for SEO, but nobody's going to read it.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of get our heads around that. Video is going to be the prime format that we're going to talk in the future.
Yeah, we've definitely bought into that, right? I mean, like,
of course.
We have, the TikTok thing is massive in our agency. Like we just do a ton of TikTok. And I think we've actually seen that lowering the quality, not doing the fancy stuff has been killer.
Yeah.
Right. That's actually what works.
I'm not saying that the lighting shouldn't be good and the sound should be horrible. All the stuff that we can kind of take care of needs to be perfect, at least so it's good.
Yeah.
But we need to be authentic.
Yeah, we need to tell stories.
We need to be real and all
that
stuff. And that's exactly what this is actually providing the companies a way to do.
Yeah.
They need to get over that fear of being in front of a camera, and a lot of people have that fear. Which is again back to the thing you said. You might need an influencer to run the show, or somebody that has some experience, making sure that we stay on our schedule and that we shift tempo and all that stuff. But all the other people that knows everything about fishing rods, bikes, wine, grill equipment, whatever we want to talk about, bring them in. We know they can answer all the questions in the world. And we also know the more we ask, the more engaged they get and excited they get, because this is their thing. And you can kind of feel that enthusiasm coming through the camera.
Do you imagine a world where, let's take the perfume example, where brands are going to integrate their live experience then with their campaign? So having the live be somebody riding a horse on a beach.
So the real commercial?
So they tie it together from a main visual standpoint. So it's like, okay, we're going live now to sell this perfume, and we'll have
a live campaign
from we'll have the fancy stuff, and we'll have the 3 different things. And then, like you mentioned, like the TikTok vertical video is another vibe. Then is the live shopping vibe similar to the rest? It's just putting it in that environment, in that universe to sell something.
To be honest, I think we're going to see a lot of different things, because once the creatives get in, right now they're not there. They haven't really seen this format yet. So we have a few examples. I think Normal are doing some really funny things.
I haven't seen anything
with this format. I'm really being creative about it. And over time, we will see some really, really interesting things.
Yeah, because it is a playground still. And like you said, like it hasn't had a transformation yet.
No.
It's still in its infancy. So let's see how the creatives can actually move it in a different direction.
TikTok is 3 years old now. If we have talked about TikTok like 3 years ago,
it was totally different.
We couldn't have imagined the kind of content that takes off.
Not at all.
Like this train spotting guy, for example, just to mention one example. We would never have imagined that.
No.
And the same is going to happen.
And that would have multi-millions of viewers.
Exactly. And the same will happen with live shopping. One of my friends, he's doing that TV program called Zero Stars. I don't know if you've seen that.
No.
And they're also doing the one where they're actually hunting the elephant order.
Yes.
Yeah, he's called Morten, and he's an old advertising guy as well. And I talked with him about this, and he said, Well, you want to do stuff in your live shopping event where people just basically go around and say, you have to see that.
Yes.
That is amazing or crazy. Or I've never seen anything like that.
Yeah.
So you need to come up with that kind of content idea where people are like, did you see that yesterday?
Yeah.
You didn't? You go in and see it because that's crazy and they're going to do it again next week.
Yeah.
So you're doing almost a series all of a sudden.
Yeah, but we haven't got to that point yet.
No.
So there's a lot of creative space for guys like you to come up with
I think we
great,
should try to do
great
some live
formats.
streaming, but we don't have to sell anything. But
No, I think that we
it could be
could.
fun
Well,
for
I
us
think we've
to
got
try.
a few clients that
No,
we
but
can
where
talk to.
no, like Copco.
Yeah, but where it really makes sense is that we could provide the platform. The client needs to sell some stuff, and you could create the
content.
Yeah, you could provide.
But I mean,
creative
isn't that
idea.
what you guys are also doing? You're doing an agency to help them.
We're
You're doing
that
the
right
both
now.
sides
Yeah.
of the service,
That's
which I think is
basically-
also very smart.
That's basically not a plan. But I'm an agency guy. I've built agencies all my life, so it comes very natural. And I was like, okay, now I want to do a software company because I've never tried that before, and I think that could be fun.
Yeah.
But immediately I could see that companies, they need a lot of help.
need both.
Yeah.
And they might need a lot of help for the next 2 or 3 years, and then they're up and running by themselves. So basically we said, okay, we're going to provide all that help. So we have created a content we call Liveshopper 360.
Yeah.
Where you can basically help them with everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're building
smart move.
we're building a video tutorial library right now where you can actually educate yourself. So we will do educations in live shopping producers, live shopping managers, moderators, hosts.
Yeah.
So we can actually help them because there are no educations right now.
Of course.
And in half a year from now, all companies, they would like to have a live stream manager and they need these people. So where should they go and be educated? And we want to be that place.
That's great.
Yeah.
It's a really cool
that's
business
nice.
model.
So where is live shopping or Liveshopper headed in the future?
Well, I mean, the big thing for us to really get up and running is the cooperation with Boost. Not just for themselves, but for the 1,800 brands that are on their platform.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a must-win battle for us that we are working really, really hard on right now. And then I have tons of other ideas of where this is going, and there are so many possibilities.
Yeah. Where can we see your 2023 predictions?
Oh, I have a Medium account.
Okay.
You should go and watch that.
Yes.
Because there you can find all my articles. I think there's like 45 articles.
What's the URL?
It's like medium.timfrankandersen.
Go.
Crazy.
There
Yeah.
you go. We'll
Not
put
now.
We'll put it
No.
lower
So
Not
there.
now,
Yeah.
but later,
That's where I
after the
will be.
podcast.
And the first article I'm going to do is where I look back at the 10 I did last year to see, okay, how well did I actually do?
Okay, what's the correction rate or success rate of so far?
Typically, I get between 6 and 7 right. And then I have 2 or 3 where I'm like in the yellow saying that, it kind of happened, but not really as I predicted.
Okay.
And then there's typically like 1 or maybe 2 where I really didn't hit it. And I do that also a little bit on purpose because you want to do some stretching. One of the things I predicted was that Apple was going to release their AR glasses this year. I kind of knew it wasn't going to happen, but I really hoped for it.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Maybe next
Not
year.
just- not
I
just
actually,
innovation.
to be completely honest, I think we're in 2024 before it really happens.
You think so?
Yeah, unfortunately. But the Meta Quest Pro that was launched the other day is actually an open door into another possibility for live shopping. And that is live shopping in the metaverse, which is something we're definitely also looking at.
Yeah. Could be interesting.
Yeah, down the line, you could imagine that you go into a store and you have tactile motions in your gloves, so you can actually feel the products. You can turn them around and stuff like that. Try it on if it's closed and stuff like that.
Will that still be called live shopping though? Wouldn't that be
I don't
called
know.
like
Meta shopping.
meta shop?
I don't know.
Metaverse shopping?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But it's interesting to see the development
It's
there.
years from now.
Yeah, it is. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be interesting. I think that is the level. But I think that metaverse is going to take...
Definitely.
It's going to take a few years.
It
I
is.
think we're looking at the end of this decade.
I think you're
before
right.
I think it's fully like, okay, this is something that we want to do on a daily basis.
Yeah.
The latest numbers actually on Decentraland was like 8,000 daily active users.
I saw that.
Which is like,
but
that's not really a platform.
But
like,
in a sense, you feel you've been there before.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah, that's true. And I think once you do it, like, it is a novelty right now. It's something you do a little bit.
We haven't seen the killer app yet.
No, we haven't seen it. I don't think. Yeah.
And once that happens, and eventually they'll figure it out.
Yeah,
I think. But it might take a long time. I totally agree.
I think it will, but I think it'll get there. I hope it'll get there.
See. So far, live shopping seems to be a gold mine, untapped gold mine yet. So there's a lot of potential for brands to hop on. And I want to end the podcast with this lightning round that is new that I teased for in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
With the team, because this show helps people take the suck out of social media, right?
Yeah.
So we like to ask our guests to tell us, what doesn't suck.
Yeah.
So great stuff, in your opinion.
Should we go one question each?
Yeah,
You'll
let's
take
do
the
that.
first one, I'll take the second one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the first one.
Okay, and this is lightning, so you got to be quick on your answers.
I'm just gonna say one thing, and before we get started.
Disclaim.
And the reason why I really like the idea is that this was actually the reason behind the magazine Where to Go.
Yeah.
Because basically we said that we want to create that curated place to go where you can always find tips and tricks on what's best in the city right now.
Yeah.
That's right.
And our first editor was actually Cecilie Christiansen, who is now running Elle and has been doing so for a very long time. She started her career as editor of Where to Go.
Oh, really?
So we basically invented something we call positive journalism. So we only wrote about the stuff we felt that was cool.
That was nice,
So if you saw something that sucked, we just didn't take it in. So we only
Strongly
it
curated.
was full of good stuff, but only the good stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe the next time we'll do one that does suck instead of stuff that doesn't suck.
Yeah, we do.
We'll do the
yeah.
negative and the positive. No, well, I think we go with the doesn't suck.
Let's see.
That's much more fun.
We should try it.
We don't want
The
to
next
shit on.
guest
We don't
will
want to
do-
shit on too
Yeah.
many things here. I think we always do the
That
positive.
We can be. We need to be nice. That's in our.
We do need to be
that's
nice. That's in our core values.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, be nice.
We are nice.
Be positive.
Yeah.
Be positive.
So the first one, we have 6 of them, right?
Yeah.
Favorite restaurant that doesn't suck.
Yeah, super difficult.
Is that the name of the restaurant? Super difficult. A great vegan
But,
restaurant.
okay, we have a summer house in Hornbæk, and there's this small place called Evaldsgården, and it's like a hidden gem.
Okay.
Nice.
And I
Not
was like,
anymore.
am I gonna tell it because it's really, really good food. It's very, very small. It's a little bit hard to find.
You say
fantastic
Evaldsgården?
restaurant.
In Hornbæk.
Fantastic restaurant.
Okay.
In Copenhagen, I would say Bottega Estadio, close to Parken,
Okay.
which is a nice little place which I really love.
Yeah.
Nice, good.
That's really cute. Yeah.
Next one, clothing brand that doesn't suck.
Yeah. I would say Patagonia just because I love that company.
Of course, yeah.
But when it comes to personal taste, I think the French brand called APC is really, really cool.
Okay.
It's an old
APC,
French brand. Yeah.
check it out.
I think that's
I
pretty
think
cool.
French brands are coming up. We're looking at what's it called, Le Coq.
Le Coq Sportif.
Yeah, they're. I think they're going to be.
But APC
next coming up.
is really interesting.
Yeah, APC. Okay, we'll check them out. Thanks.
Fun fact: a lot of people actually think APC is from Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's actually French.
That's right.
It's French.
Actually, I've seen
It's
their
French.
flagship store in New
Yeah.
York.
Okay, so newest streaming binge
Yeah.
that doesn't suck.
Yeah. I have one, but I can't remember the name. But I would say.
What is it about?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
what's
was
it
like
about?
that
We
was a
can try to
crime
find
story.
it. That was a crime story.
I saw
Dahmer? Was it Dahmer?
I can't
No.
remember. No. I saw the staircase, which I really liked.
Okay. The staircase. I'll have to check out that. I haven't seen that either.
That's pretty good. And then I would say Westworld, just because I'm a tech guy, and this is all about the future. And the last season is actually pretty good. It's pretty new.
I saw the first couple and then I fell off. But
Yeah,
maybe
they're
I should
hard.
get back into
They're
it.
hard to watch, but
Yeah.
I think it's interesting.
Westworld.
Yeah, I like that.
Martin recommends and Tim
Yeah.
recommends Staircase.
Yeah,
Good.
approved.
Yeah. Favorite travel destination that doesn't suck?
You're gonna love this one.
Hornbeck.
No.
Canada.
I've for 2 times I've been heli skiing in Canada.
Yeah?
In Revelstoke.
Whoa, yeah.
Oh, in Revelstoke.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a niche. Okay.
Yeah, it was
nice.
far out there,
Yeah.
and it has been the most fantastic nature experience I've ever had.
Okay. Yeah. Shout out to Revelstoke. Wow.
Super.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we make sure in the edits that we add like a little
Yeah.
stock imagery of these
Revelstoke
places?
is also really great for like snowmobile.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great snowmobile.
And it's actually outside Revelstoke, so
Yeah.
it's totally
Yeah,
out
yeah.
in the mountains.
And Revelstoke in its own is like a really small,
But the
really
crazy
small
thing
town.
is that this company they kind of control an area of the size of Funen in Denmark,
Yeah.
and they have 2,500 drop points,
Just all in that area. Yeah.
which are only theirs.
that they can only
So they
drop
have like
into.
4 helicopters. So every morning they fly out 32 people to
Wow.
this huge area.
Wow.
So you have like, several meters of fresh snow every time you are putting on the ground. So that was
I
that's a
feel
great
I'm
experience.
jealous. Like I'm Canadian. I grew up in that area. I grew up in Calgary.
Best
and you've never
experience
been
ever.
dropped.
I've never been heli skiing.
Best experience ever.
I don't think I'd want to be dropped these days. Maybe when I was 18, I would be like, drop me. Now I'd be like, just like a cartoon.
Where did he go?
Like a
Like a
hole in the
cartoon.
snow.
2 skis, poles. That's how I look. I'd be like, he's gone.
Oh, all right. Okay, so
next trip.
Yeah, next one is favorite music artist that doesn't suck.
Yeah, I have a Danish couple. I think Tobias Rahim and Andreas Oddberg are doing really good.
Yeah, the duo.
But internationally, I'm a huge fan of Billie Eilish.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually saw her when she was in Denmark.
Yeah.
In Tinderbox. And I have 2 daughters, 16 and 19, and they kind of introduced me to her. But I just think that she's super, super cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I think she's got her own sound. Like, she's very unique voice.
Yeah.
I think that's very special. There's a lot of artists that just sound the same.
Amazing.
But she's got a,
She and her brother.
Yeah, her and her brother, they're production.
Oh, yeah, she has a brother.
He's the one behind
producing,
a lot of music.
Yeah.
He's actually producing.
Yeah.
I think they're a great duo.
And there's this movie about her, which is also really good, where you see them sitting in the bedroom on the bed, and they're pretty much doing the music there.
Yeah, they're making it in their living
Dinner's
room.
ready, okay, and just like this. It's super cool.
Okay, awesome.
I love that.
Yeah,
Billie
Eilish.
Last one. Favorite brand you follow on social media that doesn't suck?
And I don't follow that many brands, to be honest, but I'm actually trying to learn TikTok right now, and so I've spent some time figuring out which brands are doing really well.
Please name one of our clients. Please name one of our clients.
But actually, I think that Duolingo is doing really well on TikTok, and I think they got it.
Yeah.
Not that it's an easy way to do it, but it's...
Speaking of your own voice, I think they also found their own voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I would mention them.
Good.
Okay.
Nice. Great. That's
awesome.
a great lightning round.
I like this. I like this format. Tell us what you think in the comments. But otherwise, here you have it. Closer to Liveshopper and closer to Tim Frank Andersen, the CEO and co-founder of Liveshopper. Thank you for listening, and tune in for the next one.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
This has been the Social Media Sucks Podcast.